what's important to us and what we actually consider and hold very precious to us. And if our family is important, that'll be for lots of different reasons. It won't just be because we want to provide for them. It won't just be about feeding them and paying for them. It'll also be about being with them. And so will being in that top bracket of earners still mean you can be that person? And this is a conflict you have to kind of get through and find out for yourself. No one can really tell you. And in a lot of cases, you've got to try for the goal before you realise whether it's congruent or not. You know, we call it, in NLP, we call it congruent. If what you're trying for sits with your values. The thing I like about It Works is that the products are really good. And because the products are really good, you all know that you're on a winner with the products. You know you're not selling somebody snake oil. That's really important. So everybody's values are congruent with that. So you've already got that bit. It's not like you're selling something that perhaps you're trying to make somebody think they need and they don't really need it. You're actually selling really good quality products which people have a choice to buy or not to buy. But when it comes to the business side of things, people have to make a value decision and a value judgment about how far they want to go because of how that might affect the person they are and the life they lead. And this is really interesting when you come to goal setting, because you have to think about these things when you think about setting your goals. So I was going to talk tonight about setting goals because it's something that's very close to my heart. So would you like me to do that?
Yes, please.
Yeah?
Oh.
Yeah? Such a bugger, isn't she?
What did she say?
Okay. She said no. What do you think she said?
Do you want me to mute? Do you want us to mute?
No, I like it.
Oh, okay.
I like it.
That's all right then.
I'm getting used to this now. So is everybody interested in just hearing a bit about goal setting? And doing it properly? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things that I used to do before I became an NLP practitioner is I used to write my New Year's resolutions down on a piece of paper. And if I had any goals, it would usually be related to weight loss, getting fit, making more money. And I'd write those down on paper. I used to think that was what you had to do. I used to think, you think them up, you realise it's what you need in your life, and you write them down. Put them in a little book, a nice little book, you know, like a journal, maybe a book with a pattern around the binding, and do it with a nice pen. I'd get a nice tipped pen and I would write my goals down. I would write a nice list. Did I ever look at that list again? No, I never looked at that list again. I don't even know where I put the book, you know. And what I was doing wrong was I wasn't actually experiencing the goal or the achievement. And what I learnt with NLP is a way of using all of your senses and your representational styles to actually experience the achievement. And once you've experienced the achievement in your head, you'll actually achieve it. When you're thinking about what you want, so I'm just going to take something right out of thin air and say, let's say an It Works goal is to be diamond by May. Would that be a reasonable goal for someone to have? I think it would be, from what I've learned about your business. To be diamond by May, okay? We're sitting in January at the moment. It's 4 months away or 3 months away. Not impossible, is it, for people?
No.
But a goal has to be compelling. A goal has to be something that's so compelling, it attracts you like a magnet, that you can't let it go. It becomes part of you. Now, if it's going to be that big in your life, if that goal is going to become that important, you need to consider lots of things. So first of all, how important is it to you to achieve that goal? How important? Ask yourself that question. Let's imagine that you're all aiming for diamond in May. How important is it for you to achieve that goal? How much do you want it? How much? You can even try and quantify that. Your answer will be different from everybody else's, but how much do you want it? Is it a goal that you will take risks for? Is it a goal that you will make sacrifices for? And when I say make sacrifices, I'm not saying that, you know, you'll do that at the expense of someone else's health, or you would do it at the expense of someone else's wealth. I'm saying, how much are you prepared to give up of what you have in your life now to achieve that goal? This is a question that you should be asking yourself to see how compelling your goal is. Who will you be when you no longer have that goal in your life? When you've achieved it, when you're diamond in May, who will you be? Will you be the person who wants to be double diamond by December? Or will you grieve for that goal once it's not part of your every kind of fibre and being? Will you be sad that you've not got it anymore? Will it not define you anymore? So think about things like that, because what you're doing is you're looking at that goal in a totally rounded way, in a totally three-dimensional way. And only when you can answer these questions to your satisfaction in a way that will sit with your values will you know it's the right goal to have. So what do you really want? What does diamond in May mean? Does it mean money? You know, I'm there with you if it does. Money's very important to me. I don't have a great deal of it. It's very important to me. And I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and I want to make money. So if anybody says it's money, I'm with them. Is it status? Is it about achieving something? Great. Absolutely. Is it about your family? Is it about what that means for your future and their future? Great. Do you know what? There's no wrong answer to any of these things, as long as it sits with your values. A really important thing here to ask yourself is it a goal that you want for yourself, or is it a goal somebody else is telling you you should have? Now, there's a big one. There's a big question. Something you should really reflect on. Because if it isn't coming from you in your heart, you won't achieve it. At some point, something will get in there, some gremlin will get in there and tell you this isn't the right thing to be doing. So think about that. And then we get back to the values. What will that goal give you when you've achieved it in terms of your own satisfaction? Now, remember what values are. Values are the things you hold precious to your way of life. They might be, my values are my family, my values are my friends. It might be that your values are based around income and earnings. It might be that your values are based around society as a whole and where you sit in that. It might be the environment. It might be that your values are about how people behave with each other, about honesty and integrity and being good in your world as a person. It doesn't matter what your values are. If your goal sits congruently with those values, you will achieve it. There is no doubt about it. Because as long as there's no conflict there, like the conflict you just described, Mel, then you will be fine. It will be smooth. Everything will be in place. But the moment you sense there's a conflict, you'll have to change something. Will it be that you change your values, or will it be that you change your goal? That's up to you. Only you can decide.
Yeah.
What do you think about that up to now, all of you?
Yeah,
What do you think about that? Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah? I'm not imagining for a moment that I'm telling you all stuff you don't already know, but I think it just helps to put it all in a package for people to think about, you know. And what I can do as well afterwards for Tracy, what I'll do for you, Tracy, is I'll tomorrow, or at some point before the end of the weekend, I'll put it in a document, and so you can share that around. Does that sound like a good idea?
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Now, NLP is based on the basic tenet that we are controlled by our unconscious mind, all right? I always use the example of when we're driving from A to B and we can't remember how we got there, that's because our unconscious mind did it for us. When we get up and walk around a room, unless we've got a limp or a bad leg, we don't think about how we put our one foot in front of the other. NLP is all about the power of the unconscious mind actually looking after our bodies, looking after us, and doing what it thinks best for us. To give you an example, when I help people to stop smoking, one of the things I use is hypnosis, and the hypnosis actually addresses the unconscious mind, because the reason somebody smokes very often and has smoked for lots of years is because they wanted to be part of a group. They wanted to fit in. They might have been 13, 14, 15 when they did this. Well, when they're 35, 45, 55, they no longer need to fit into that group, but the unconscious mind still thinks that smoking keeps them safe in whatever group or situation it was when they first started. And one of the things they have to do is ask that unconscious mind to actually stop looking after them like that now, thank it, and say, thank you, I don't need looking after like this anymore. I need looking after in a different way. And that's how people stop smoking with hypnosis. So the unconscious mind is a very, very powerful tool. It, however, doesn't know the difference between good and bad. So hence people carrying on smoking, not being able to lose weight, all that kind of thing. I only recently realised that my weight problem partly is down to bread and potatoes, because I was clinging on to something from my childhood. Once I realised it, I was able to zap it, get rid of it. I mean, it's a long story. I won't go into it. But there's lots of things we cling on to from the past that kept us safe at one point, no longer do. Our unconscious mind doesn't know this until we tell it. So it's something about goal setting that our unconscious mind will help us with, is it will listen very carefully to that goal. It's really, really important that we actually express our goal in very specific wording. So when I say diamond by May, I mean diamond by May. I don't mean promotion by May. I mean diamond. Does that make sense to you all? It might be double diamond by December. I mean double diamond by December. I don't mean promotion or higher up the scale. Your unconscious mind needs to hear it very specifically and in very simple terms. Okay, so if I'm going to lose weight, if I want to lose 3 stones by December, I've got to say 3 stones by December. I can't say I just want to be thinner by December, because I could lose half an ounce. My unconscious mind will think I've achieved my goal. Okay, this is where it gets really important. When you set that goal of diamond by May, you will know what to do to achieve that. And what one of you does to achieve that won't be the same as what somebody else does. Here's the thing. Don't plan. Don't plan how you're going to get to that goal. Don't make that plan part of your goal. So, if you want to be diamond by May, it may be true that to do that, you've got to wrap a few people every week. You've got to hold a few online parties every week. You've got to blitz a few people every week. Don't say, I need to wrap 4 people every week, blitz 50 salons every week, and hold 3 online parties every week, because you won't achieve that. Something will happen in your everyday life that will stop that occurring. And the moment you haven't done it, one lap down on the 3, your unconscious mind will say, you've failed. So it's a really good tip to say, I know how to do this. I'm going to set my goal and I'm going to get to it, but don't go into the detail. Your unconscious mind will cling on to the detail, and it won't like it if you don't meet some of that finer detail that you and I know, and your conscious mind knows. It doesn't matter if you don't wrap somebody 1 week, you'll still get to the goal, but your unconscious mind won't know that. And your unconscious mind controls your behaviour. And that's where we start to fall down on those New Year's resolutions, because we say, I want to be such and such a weight by the summer. And as a result, you know, you have 1 week where you eat too many bags of crisps, which is what I do all the time. It doesn't work. My unconscious mind thinks, oh, I failed. That's it then. Done. If I say I want to be better off by December, my unconscious mind will think I've met my goal if I have an extra £5 in my pocket. You've got to be specific about your goal, but you haven't got to be too specific about how you get there when you're actually talking about your goal. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That makes really good sense to me, because when I hit diamond, as I was going for diamond, I knew I was going to get it, but I didn't know how. That makes it. I didn't really plan it. I just did it.
Yeah.
And to this day, really, when you look back, don't you think, well,
Actually,
yeah, I'm just, I get it, but I'm struggling.
okay. Well, Mel, I saw something you put on the group a couple of weeks ago where you put your goals.
I break everything down.
Sorry?
So we're trained to break it down into like monthly, weekly tasks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I saw that.
Yeah. So I'm struggling, but I'm going with it.
So what I'm saying is, that's fine. That's your guide. You know how to get there. You know what you're going to do. All right. But if you if when you're actually thinking consciously about your goal, if you start to say, so to get there, I've got to do this, your unconscious mind won't cope when you don't do one of them. Consciously, we know that not doing one of them doesn't mean we won't achieve our goal. So I'm not saying I'm not saying don't follow the guide, don't break it down. I'm saying don't use that with your goal when you're verbalizing your goal and thinking about your goal.
Okay.
So here's a perfect example. Tracy has a goal of paying a certain amount every few weeks for Tabs's Mount View. Yeah. Do you think about how you're going to get there?
No.
She just does it. She goes for it. The goal's great to have, and she goes for it.
I think if I thought about it, I'd probably have a nervous.
Well, that's another thing. If you think about it too hard, you'll drive yourself mad. Yeah. But, no, the guide is fine, Mel. The actual guide, of how to do it and how to break it down is fine. But don't sit that with your goal.
Okay.
Say, diamond by May. And then do the stuff you've got to do. So don't have that plan in your head all the time. Just do it.
Yeah.
Because there may also be other things that people can do to meet that diamond by May that no one's ever thought of.
That is completely true.
Yeah, and you'll all benefit from learning about each other's experiences. If you all did it all the same way, then you wouldn't all succeed the way you're doing. So
yeah, and I get where Tracy's coming from, because it is that point where you go, and the one thing I do always say to people is that if they say, for example, we say diamond by May, and everybody will say the same thing. I don't know how I'm going to do that. And I always say to people, none of us do.
Yeah.
I don't know how we're actually going to do it. We don't know how it's actually going to come together.
That's really, really good response.
But you just work really, and that's just for my own personal, when I was doing it. So I was going for it. I just, like you said, I've got my goal.
Yeah.
That was my goal. It was very clear. And I didn't really, I'd broken it down to a certain extent. I knew how many distributors and everything I needed, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't really know how I was going to do it until I just went for it.
Yeah, you did. You went for it. And that's the key. Go for it. You've all got tools about how to get there. Just don't take them on board too seriously when you're actually setting your goal, but go for it. And that's the way we achieve. Because there's another really, really good tool that I'm going to show you in a minute that I actually did with you as well, Mel. And I think I've done it with you, Tracy. But we're gonna live that goal in a minute. So I'll show you how to do that. But I've got another thing to talk to you about as well, which is about when. Okay, so I've got a story for you about a friend of mine, and this all happened on Sunday. Very good friend of mine. I've known her for a long time. And we were talking about some great ideas that she's had. She's not part of your business. She's got ideas about other things. She wants to run some certain quirky events, and she's been talking about this for quite a while. And she showed me a great blog that she'd put together. It's beautiful. Got her picture on it. And she showed me a website that she's about to publish. Okay. She told me that she's never shown that blog to anybody, and she's been writing blog posts for nearly a year. And she told me that she's going to publish the website when she's ready. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do something I've never done with her before, and I'm going to ask her why she's not done it already. And she gave me a whole load of excuses. She has really, really great ideas. They're really great ideas, okay? So then I said to her, do you know what? I've known you now for 23 years, and in that 23 years, you've had nothing but good ideas. And you've had lots of times where you've said to me, right, I've done this, I've done that. I'm just waiting for the right time to set this all up and let it go and set it all off. And you never have. So I said to her, what is it you're scared of? She said, I'm not scared of anything. No, you clearly are, because you've got these great ideas. You've been writing a blog for a year. You've not shown it to anybody. What are you scared of? I'm not scared of anything. So I said, okay. And I did what we call the meta model. I've done it on you, Mel, and I've done it on you, Tracy. I said, if you hadn't, you know, sat back and waited for the right time, and all of this was in place, what would you have in your life? She said, well, I guess I'd have more money. And I guess maybe I'd be a bit well known. And I guess I'd be satisfied. And I said, okay, so what is it about more money, being well known and being satisfied that you're scared of? So she said, well, okay, I don't think I'm that happy about having my face on websites and being known. I said, okay, well, you know that you can do something about that. You know you don't have to have your face on a website. You can be anonymous. And all of this stuff could still happen. So what is it you're really scared of? You know what we came down to? We came down to her limiting belief, which is, I'm scared that it won't work.
Yeah.
I'm scared that all of this quality stuff I've already put together won't result in those events, those quirky events that I want to let people do and make money out of and enjoy. So I did a bit of work with her and I zapped it. We zapped it together. We changed the representations of that limiting belief and we turned it into something where she absolutely believes it will work. But the key to this is trying to say to all of you, we've all got limiting beliefs. All of you will have a limiting belief that says, you know, for some reason, it's okay for me not to go out there and do this because actually, you know, either I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I don't belong, it won't work, nobody likes me. All of those things are untrue. They can all be zapped out of the water, but they cannot let that stop you from doing this now. There is never a good time. There is never a good time. Therefore, it's always a good time. That's really worth clinging on to. Don't let anything stop you from working towards your goal. If you've got limiting beliefs, come and see me. I'll help you get rid of those. Don't let anything make you think, well, you know what, I'll leave this till after the summer when, you know, the kids or whatever and all this. Don't. There'll be something else that stops you then, because it won't really be about the circumstances. It'll be about you and what's inside you that's stopping you. Do it now, today. As soon as this call has ended, start on that goal if you haven't already. Or do something different towards your goal if you haven't already. That's probably the best advice and tip I can give you from what I've learned in the last couple of years from my time with NLP. Now, a couple of other things to think about is another thing to do in preparation for achieving your goal is to act as if you have. So when you are Diamond by May, or whatever your goal is, how are you going to act? How are you going to walk? How are you going to speak? What's going to be different about you? Will there be a reason for dressing differently? Will you be needed at more events? Do it now. Dress differently now. Will you have to walk taller? Will you have to straighten your shoulders because you might be seen a bit more? Do it now. Seriously. Will you have to speak louder because you're going to be speaking to more people when you're a diamond or a double diamond or whatever your goal is? Start now. Act as if you have achieved that goal now. Be that person, because that will help you achieve the goal. It will make the goal just, well, yeah, of course I'm going to be Diamond by May, because I am Diamond. I just need to get the, you know, whatever it is that you get to prove it. I'm Diamond. I'm double diamond. I'm triple diamond. What is it? What's the top one? Presidential ambassador. That one? Is that one? Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Act like it now. Act like it. Why not? What are you going to lose if you act like it? If you start acting like it, you'll do it. And now, if you're up for it, everybody, I come to the point where we actually set a goal. How do you feel about that? Should we do it?
Good, yeah. Do it.
Okay. All right. What I'm going to say to you all is, do you all know where your timelines are? So if I said to you, think about Christmas Day just gone, when you think about that, where is it? Is it in front of you? Is it behind you? Is it to the side? Is it over there? Where is it?
In front.
In front.
Behind.
To the side.
Behind.
Behind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody, yeah, just like that or like that. In front, behind. Okay.
Wait. What do we mean?
So when you think about Christmas Day just gone,
Yeah.
where is it? Is it in front of you? Is it behind you? Is it to the side of you? Is it just in front there? Is it behind there?
Oh, it's here. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so you know where it is. That's your past. Okay, that's your recent past.
Okay.
When you think about when you're going to be diamond by May or whatever your goal is, that's in the future, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where is that? Where can you see that?
In front.
In front. So some of you behind and in front. So where's yours? In front. So further in front. Yeah, brilliant. Now, if you can draw a line from the first one, from Christmas Day to when you've achieved your goal in your head, that's your timeline.
Okay.
We're all pretty different from each other, but that's your timeline, okay?
Yeah.
I want you to all close your eyes. Okay. Now, I want you to imagine that you can float up above the present today. Wherever that is, float right up above it, quite high. And I want you to look down and see, with your eyes closed, that timeline. And that timeline leads from where you are hovering to the point where you've achieved your goal. And I want you to light up that timeline, a bit like the Coca-Cola van lorry at Christmas, okay? Light it up. So you can see this lit road between where you are now and where you've achieved that goal. And now I want you to slowly soar towards it. So you're flying up your timeline, and at some point you're going to land, or you're going to hover above the point where you've achieved that goal. Now, when you get there, I want you to look down at yourself. Whether your goal was diamond in May, whether it was double diamond by December or diamond by December, I want you to think now about how your life will be. What else will have happened when you've achieved that goal? Maybe you'll have bought a new car. Maybe you'll be living in a different property. Maybe you'll have new furniture. Maybe you just have a bit more money to go out with. Maybe you'll have booked a holiday. I want you to imagine just a moment in time in your life when you've achieved that goal. Look down and see yourself living the life. You might be pulling up outside your house in a new car. You might be opening a bottle of wine. You might be going out with some friends. But everything's come together because that goal has been achieved and other things have happened as a result of it. And this is in your own homes, your own environments, your own communities. So I want you now to be very clear about what you're looking down on. I'm going to give you 10-15 seconds now, just to get that image clear in your head as you look down on yourself, living that life. Great. Right. Now, I want you to float down into that scene and be part of it. So you can no longer see yourself. You are living it. So if it's pulling up in a car, you're in that car. Give you a few seconds to do that. Now, when you're in that scene where you've achieved your goal and those other things have come together, I want you to brighten whatever colours you can see. Turn them into glorious technicolor. Now take note of whatever sounds you can hear. If you couldn't hear any, introduce some now. Now pump that volume right up. Pump the volume right up to make those sounds as loud as you can possibly cope with. So we've got glorious technicolor and we've got a pumped up volume. Now I want you to make sure that that scene that you're in is a moving scene. It's a movie. Things are happening. You're walking around, you're talking to someone, you're opening a bottle of wine, you're dancing. Whatever you're doing, this scene that shows you've achieved that goal, make it into a movie, glorious technicolor and loud volume. Now remember, this is a goal that you have been defined by for months, possibly even longer, because it could represent things you've wanted all your life. How does it feel in your body? Take note of how it feels in your body. What does that great feeling feel like? Where is that feeling? Make sure you know. It'll be different for all of you. Where is that feeling moving? What direction is it moving in? You've achieved it. You're satisfied. You know you've done it. You have something that you have worked so hard for. Where's that feeling in your body? How does it feel? Which way is that feeling moving around? Because it will be moving around. Now, when you're absolutely alive with this experience and it's filling you, it's absolutely filling you, I want you to take a knuckle, any knuckle on your left hand, with the forefinger and the thumb of your right hand, and I want you to press down when you're feeling absolutely full of the feeling of achievement, because this scene is how it's going to be when you've done this, when that goal has been set. And I want you to press down so you can actually feel the pressure. As soon as that feeling diminishes, as soon as it diminishes, let go. But whilst it's still strong, keep your thumb and forefinger on that knuckle. But as soon as the feeling starts to go away and dissipate, let go. Now, it's really important you remember what knuckle that was. So important. Okay, excellent. When you're ready, float back up. Float back up as high as you can. Again, seeing yourself in that scene. Float really high. Now come back along that lit road to the present. Hover over the present. And then float down into now and come back to now. When you're ready. Only when you're ready. Brilliant. Well done. Well done. What you've just done is you've set a goal into your timeline. Now, everything you do towards that goal will work towards that goal because you've set it. You haven't just written it down on a piece of paper. You've not just put it in a book that's a nice book with a nice pen. You've actually lived it. You've also anchored it. So remembering what knuckle that was, you may need to do it a few times and practice it. You may not. You may have actually just nailed it in that one go. But remembering what knuckle that was, whenever you press that knuckle with those fingers, you should revisit that feeling. That feeling should flood through you. So it might take a couple of practices, but on the whole, people generally do it in one. Don't they, Tracy?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Now, you've set a goal in your timeline. It's a bit like watching The Secret and Asking the Universe, except the only problem with that film, The Secret, is it didn't talk about the work it takes. They edited all of that out. Nothing wrong with asking the universe. The universe is there to help you. Once you've asked the universe, it amends your behaviour. There's nothing magical about it. It's not really the universe, it's you that does it. And the same with these goals. You set a goal in that timeline, it becomes a natural, normal part of you. And it becomes something that will actually happen. And do you know what? If it doesn't happen in May, but it happens in June, that doesn't matter. Because actually you're still working towards that goal. That's what's important. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You can do that with any goal. You know, now you've learned to do it, you can do it. You can set a goal in your timeline. You can help young people with exams. You can help other people, other team members. You can help family members with things. You know, it doesn't have to be a work goal. It can be any kind of goal. I got my stepson to imagine his English GCSE results coming up on the screen in the exams department at Gateway, and it said C. And you know what he got is C, and that's the first one after 4 attempts. So that was part of it. I said, if you imagine that, you'll work towards that. You make it real. You make it absolutely, you can't argue with it. That's what's going to happen. It's certain. And that's goal setting, effective goal setting, using the power of the mind and the unconscious mind. Your unconscious mind now understands that goal. That lit road is where you put the plan. Sorry?
I was to say to you, that's amazing, because I've just done that now and put it in my head.
Yeah.
My goals are normally centered around the same things anyway, but
Yeah.
I can physically now see it in my head.
Yeah.
What's going to happen and how I feel when it's going to happen.
Oh, absolutely. It isn't just like, you know, if my goal is to lose 3 stone, I've got to actually become that person who's lost 3 stone.
Yeah.
I've got to be that person. There's no point in saying, I want to lose 3 stone. Yeah, of course I do. But to lose it, I've got to become that person. So I've got to set the goal in my timeline and know what I will look like, feel like, what it will sound like, what I'll be able to do. Get myself down into that picture and then take myself out again. That's how you do it.
Brilliant.
There you go, guys. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
How does everybody else feel about it? Did they get it? I mean, I've heard it a few times now, so it's gone into my thick skull.
Yeah, I've been before seeing somebody that does the same thing. When I was trying to lose a lot of weight, but I've never done it since, and it just like brought it all back then.
Yeah.
Really good. I'd like all that.
Oh, good. That's good. Good to hear that. Well, I'll put it all in a document for you all anyway, so you can see the steps to take to do it, if that will help you. I'm happy to do that.
Yeah.
That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with needing a bit of practice at it, you know. There's nothing wrong with that at all. It's fine. It just makes you better at it.
Yeah, because sometimes I find at the beginning I found it hard to visualize things.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Yeah,
the light.
But that's another thing as well. You know, I talked about it in really clear terms, but some people can't do it. They're just blobs of colour, you know, or shapes. That's okay. As long as it represents what it needs to represent for you, you don't have to be like the next person. Do it your way.
The first time you did the timeline with me, I couldn't get my head around it at all. I really struggled with the timeline one, but this time it was a lot better.
Yeah, good. Good. That's good to hear.
It was
That
really
means,
powerful.
yeah, good. Some of these things they do take 1 or 2 times, and they are quirky and they are a bit odd, but really they're very logical if you think about it. If we respect the power of our minds a bit more, you know, we'd get a lot further. All of us, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
So, Tracy, is that all right?
That's amazing. Thank you, Julie.
Oh, you're welcome. Go on.
What are you going to say? I feel like I've got a new lease of life again now. It's really weird. I can see it. I can see it now.
Oh, it's so powerful being able to see your goal and feel it and hear it. It's so powerful, honestly. It just becomes something that you'll do. You know, like the sun will get up, the sun will rise tomorrow. It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
But remember all the other things I've said about, you know, making sure your goal is right for you, making sure it's congruent, sits with your values. It's not going to take away anything from you that you don't want to have taken away once you've achieved it. You know, think about all those things as well.
Yeah, I really like the bit about who will you be when you no longer have that goal. Because I think, you know, we've seen that. We've seen that if you've achieved it, then I think some people do get that, oh, where do I go next type of thing.
Yeah. Well, I think we can grieve for a long-held goal. Once we achieve it, we can grieve for it because it's so much part of us for such a long time. And don't forget, you know, goals to do with it works aren't necessarily just to do with it works. They could be to do with success and a bit of wealth that we've long wanted. So there's just a different representation of a long-held goal. Yeah. The trick is to be congruent and to know it's right for us.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like you say, if it doesn't fit with your values. So my top 30 wasn't congruent with my values, obviously. But I'm also very aware that I knew straight away, I thought, I'm scared of not doing it as well.
Yeah, and
you know, limiting belief come in as well, 100%.
Yeah, and we've all got so many limiting beliefs. But if we know we've got them, we can deal with them. It's when we start denying it that we're in trouble.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with you realising that, you know, some of the things you had on that list aren't congruent with your values. That was just the way you found out. That's brilliant. That's a great move forward.
It's interesting.
Yeah, very.
Has anybody got any questions before we... Everyone's quiet.
I just want to say that noise is not my iron.
Are you sure?
It goes pretty well. Look.
No, I did think it was at first, but then I thought, no, it's not, because you're not ironing any longer and it's still going.
Yeah.
It's not going now, is it?
Iron off.
No, I'm still ironing.
Right, thank you very much, everybody.
Yay, thank you, Julie. Amazing, as always.
Oh, thank you. I enjoyed that. And if anybody wants to work with me individually, just get in touch. I'll be here, as always.
I mean, we can have a private session.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, you know you can.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Right, I'm going then. How do I get out of this, Tracy? What do I do?
Bottom right hand corner.
Yeah.
Leave me